That was intense. Needless to say, there's going to be spoilers in this review. Don't watch it if you haven't seen the episode.
A warning transmission.
Who are you? The sea's on the siege. Do you trust me, Chris? Sometimes.
Hi, I'm Phil. Welcome to my channel where I talk about all the pop culture I love, and I love Doctor Who. As you can probably tell from my background behind me. I review Doctor Who every week. Series 12. The Fugitive of the Judoon. This episode, I'm just going to come straight out and say it, like, mind-blowing. This could have gone one of many ways, because they hyped up this episode so much on social media, did the BBC. We had tweets that said something along the lines of, if you love the Master, seeing the Master, if you thought the Master was, I can't remember the exact phrasing, but it was something like, if you thought the Master was a shock, wait till tonight's episode. Which, now look, a couple of weeks ago, they hyped up the ending of Orphan 55. They said it was an ending not to be missed. And a lot of us were left at the end of that episode going, where's this ending that you said shouldn't be missed? Because I don't think that was it. But here, oh my god, did they live up to the hype. More so than we ever imagined. Because I think a lot of people had kind of guessed one of the early reveals. We'll talk spoilers, obviously. I said that in the intro. I'm going to re-emphasize that. There are going to be spoilers in this. So, Captain Jack, people kind of guessed it might be him. People didn't want to get their hopes up too much because, because of the previous tweet, we didn't, but there was evidence, John Barrowman had liked the tweet. And, Chris Chibnall has a relationship with him from having showrun Torchwood in the past. So, there was hints. We could have, a lot of people guessed that it was going to be Captain Jack. Then there was the next revelation. So we expected that one, and then we got the other one, and that blew my mind. We'll get to those revelations anyway. Look, we should probably start at the beginning of the episode. Let's talk about the other stuff before we get to the big revelations. So first of all, the opening scene in the TARDIS that we had, I thought was lovely. We had the Doctor being distant, kind of almost pushing her companions away, having this sort of moody look, carrying over that stuff from the season openers and her sort of emotional inner turmoil. Some absolutely fantastic acting from Jodie in this episode, I've got to say. And that started in this scene. And I love the fact that they're developing this strand. It's something we haven't really seen before, of them pushing, sort of her pushing away her companions. That was a really good scene. Then we get the setup of the Judoon coming to Earth, and they're searching for a fugitive. I really like the way the Judoon were used in this episode. They were threatening, menacing. They established that early on. You had them killing a few people sort of indiscriminately. They didn't play too much on the comedy of the Judoon, which I liked, because the Judoon can be very comic in the way that they follow rules to the letter. They're very small-minded. They have tiny brains the size of a teaspoon. And you can get a lot of comedy out of that. And I think in places that worked. But I liked it here that they just sort of went in for establishing the threat. They didn't do any of this comedy stuff with them, which has its place. It worked really well in Sarah Jane. It worked really well in where we saw it in the episode they were from originally. I think in certain stories it can work really well. But I'm quite glad they stuck to the sort of more threatening, menacing type that you have here. And initially the episode kind of just feels like this pretty generic Doctor Who adventure. There's a fugitive, the Judoon's after them, trying to work out who this fugitive is. And, it even in those bits, before we got to the big revelations, it felt like a fun adventure. The team were, investigating and stuff. I quite liked. I loved the bit where the Graham got teleported by Captain Jack, and nobody really noticed for a while. And then suddenly the Doctor's like, "Where's Graham?" And Ryan's like, "I'm not his keeper. Come on." Nice little moments between them there, just sort of establishing the group dynamic that they've got and that they've developed over these last two seasons. Was really nice. And yeah, this felt like a really fun adventure. And I was watching it thinking, hey, this is quite fun. I'm quite enjoying this. This is good. Then we get the revelation of Jack. And the second I heard his voice, I was like, oh, that's John Barrowman. When it was just his voiceover, over the tannoy system in whatever ship he's in that he transported Graham to, I was like, that's John Barrowman. And instantly my face lit up and I was like, this is great. I love the fact that they've brought Captain Jack back. This is amazing. And the interaction of him and Graham, and him mistaking Graham for the Doctor, was fun. And then later on, him briefly mistaking Yaz for the Doctor as well, because Graham had told him that the Doctor was a woman, and so in his second attempt to teleport up the Doctor, he'd ended up with Yaz and Ryan. So knowing now that the Doctor is a woman, he instantly assumes it's Yaz. That, you know, all that sort of playfulness from them is absolutely lovely. I would love to know where in Jack's timeline this is. I really hope they don't completely eradicate the Torchwood audios, because, you know, and then they don't need to. Jack is a time traveler. He can be from far into the future. You know, there can be another Jack having the adventures in the Torchwood audios, and this Jack could be from another 20 years in his future, and it wouldn't matter. So I don't think that's a massive problem. But it was just so good seeing him again, being his cheesy self, and I really hope we get to see him again, because one of the things that I felt really disappointed with, not like, I don't think it's their fault because I think they're going to play on it later, but I was slightly disappointed that we didn't get to see him interact with the Doctor. Would have loved to seen him interact with the Doctor, with a female Doctor, and just see how that dynamic plays out. How he is flirting with her and all of that. That would have been so fun to see. But I suspect we're probably going to see it a bit later on down the line. I don't think this is the last we've seen of Captain Jack in Doctor Who this season. Once again, we get the team splitting up, which I think they're doing a lot this season, and I think it works really well. A 4-person TARDIS team is a big TARDIS team, and to use them all is very difficult. There's always seems to be somebody that's kind of left out. In this episode, I would say very much it's Ryan is the one that's kind of left on the back burner, doesn't really have that much to do. Graham has that great interaction with Jack when he gets teleported away. Yaz has the good stuff interacting with the Judoon because of her police background, which was nice to see. It was Yaz utilising her police background to sort of know how procedural things work and how to slow them down and distract them a bit more, and using that to her advantage, so that was quite nice. But Ryan, again, much like last episode, didn't really have anything to do in this episode, although Orphan 55 was very much him as a companion, got a lot to do. So, you know, it's going to balance out. I think it's fine if they do keep it sort of mixed, and we have, you know, maybe Ryan getting a focus one episode, Yaz another one. That can work. They don't all have to have a focus every episode. So it's I don't think it was too bad, but we didn't get to see much from Ryan this time. I thought Neil Stuke was interesting. You know, as a red herring, he worked really well. You know, thinking that he's the fugitive and having that interaction between him and I've forgotten the lady's name, the lady that he's chasing them and has hired the Judoon. Good stuff. I thought he did a good job. And then Joe Martin, who played Ruth, was okay as Ruth. I thought, you know, when she was being Ruth, it was alright, I guess. You know, pretty bog standard human, gets caught up in an adventure type character. Then, of course, we get the revelation. Now, I don't know if anybody guessed that this was going to happen. Lots of people would guess the Jack stuff. I didn't see anybody speculate about this. I heard something about a leak happening, and I don't know if I didn't see what that was, and I avoided it. But I wouldn't have gone looking. I didn't go looking for it, and I didn't see it accidentally. So maybe that was what it was. I don't know. But I didn't see anybody speculate about this, certainly not anybody having not seen the leak. The fact that she is a version of the Doctor, that was when she. I don't know how much of it, sort of where you were on what you were thinking was happening. I kind of actually guessed that she was probably a Time Lord. From that whole break the glass thing onwards, I thought, well, this is a chameleon arch. Actually, I kind of thought that Neil Stuke was a Time Lord initially, because of the box, and I thought, oh, he's going to open the box and get some memories back or something. And then when we found out that it wasn't him that was the fugitive, it was her, I assumed, as soon as we got those flashes of the lighthouse, that, yeah, okay, as soon as she breaks the glass, it's going to be a chameleon arch thing. So I got that bit. I kind of assumed she was a Time Lord. I did not at all assume that she was going to be the Doctor. And, oh, that just blew my mind. It was such a good reveal as well. As the Doctor was digging up the TARDIS, I was like, wait a minute, hold on. What's going on here? There's a TARDIS. Hold up. Is this somebody in the future has captured the Doctor and has captured the TARDIS? And then gradually clicked into place, and I was like, wait a minute. She's going to be the Doctor. And she was. And it was, is she a future version of the Doctor? And then we get, well, is she a future version of the Doctor? Is she a past version of the Doctor? That's the mystery. And I guess this plays into the rumours that, you know, it's going to be revealed that the Doctor had some previous regenerations to Hartnell. There are a lot of people that say that's not canon. How dare they redo that? But that, you know, in Tom Baker's time, they had established that the Doctor had previous regenerations to the Hartnell, and then, you know, they retcon stuff all the time. They retconned it to be that he had previous generations in the brain of Morbius, and I think they retconned it back out again at some point. So if they retcon it back in again now, it's no different to what's gone before. Show's always contradicting itself and retconning itself. It's fine. It's an interesting angle to take. I would be very interested to see where it goes after this. Kind of blows the fact that they're already calling themselves the Doctor in this, whereas as far as we know, Hartnell took on that persona, that name, after leaving Gallifrey, or as he was leaving, just before he left Gallifrey, something along those lines. Yeah, it's very interesting. I'm very intrigued. As the Doctor, I quite liked Jo Martin. Much more interesting than when she was Ruth. I don't know if she has quite she doesn't quite strike me as the Doctor yet, but if this is a Doctor that was from before Hartnell, she's going to be a very different person. So it'd be interesting to see where that is. Or, here's another theory, maybe she's not from before Hartnell. Maybe there's some alternate universe stuff at play here. That could be another angle that they might take. They you know, there was hints at alternate universe stuff with we thought there might be some with the opening episode. Maybe that was a red herring to throw you off with the fact that there was going to be some later. Who knows? So many theories. I really like the TARDIS. I really like this Doctor's TARDIS. I love the kind of blue. It's got the round doors. It's got the original doors. I love the console. Is very much like the original console, but it's just got this. It's like a better version of the original console room. It's got more depth to it. There's kind of looks like there's rooms off of it a bit more. I really like this TARDIS console room. It's nice, much better than the current Doctor's one. I hope we get to see it again. What will happen with this next, I really don't know, but I'm generally really excited about the rest of the series now because of this episode. And some phenomenal acting by Jodie here at the end there. Just that moment when she meets up with her companions after the whole ordeal on the Judoon ship. She's just, and the way she's sort of staggering down the street, just the look of despair on her face, and it feels so real. It feels absolutely real. It was so good. And then her conversation with the companions afterwards, where she goes, "You don't know me," and Yaz is like, "Don't talk to him like that." There's these little rifts that are coming between the TARDIS team because of what's happened to Gallifrey, and because of how it's affected the Doctor, and because now this and how it's affecting her. It's really interesting stuff between the dynamic of the TARDIS team, and I really, really hope that it pays off in the season finale. This kind of feels like we're going to get maybe because it kind of carried on into a cliffhanger for the next episode, which seems like it's on a completely different plot. But the fact that they're leading into it so directly from this episode makes me think that there's going to be ties and going to be connections into the next episode. Next episode is going to be very much a plot arc heavy episode as well in some ways. Maybe different ways, but some ways. So it'll be interesting to see that, and then probably the next lot of really arc heavy stuff we're going to get is the finale. So I really hope it pays off in the finale, because a bad payoff to something like this can kind of retroactively spoil the earlier good parts if it doesn't work out in the end. So I'm cautious, but so far I'm very much looking forward to seeing what comes. And this season story arc is rising in my expectations and rising in sort of my how I view it every episode that we get more information about it at this point. It's kind of feeling a bit like, to me, season 6, series 6 was a great story arc. Had some bad moments in it, let's kill Hitler, but it was a great story arc, and this is feeling very much along the epicness of that, and I like it a lot. Anyway, that's my thoughts. I really like this episode. I'm really excited for the future. It was great to see Captain Jack again. It was mind-blowing what this means for the future of the Doctor and the future of the show and the future of Gallifrey and all of that. Absolutely mind-blowing. And yeah, I can't wait to find out what happens next. What did you think? Let me know in the comments below. Keep it nice, keep it polite. Obviously, if you hated this episode, you can absolutely say that. But, you know, tell me why you hated it. Give me reasons. And let's not devolve into insults. Thank you very much for watching. I'll be back for another review next week. Hopefully it's as exciting as this week's was. And I'll see you soon. Thanks for watching. And don't forget to like, share, subscribe. All that jazz. Bye.